ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां व्यासशंकरमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। So we'll read number 20. We'll start from there. See, Bhagavad Gita Kinchidadhita. Bhagavad Gita Kinchidadhita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita. So Bhagavad Gita Kinchidadhita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita. Then Sakrit api yena Murari Samarcha Kriyate Tasya Yamenana Charcha. So Bhagavad Gita Kinchitadhita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita. Sakritapi ena Murari Samarcha Kriyate Tasya Yamenana Charcha. Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate Samprapte Sannihite Kale Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrin Karane. So this is the mantra number 20. So here the essence of this particular mantra number 20 is the praise is given to the Shastra. So Bhagavad Gita is praised here because Bhagavad Gita is one of the texts to be studied by a person in his lifetime. So we have Prasthana Trayam. So Prasthana Trayam means there are three things to be. Trayam means three. So we have the Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, then Brahma Sutra. So the Bhagavad Gita is mentioned specifically here because the Bhagavad Gita is called the Moksha Shastra. Moksha Shastra. So that which is useful for a person how to lead a life of values. It talks about Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and it gives different values for a person, for a adhikari, for a student, what values one should have and how one should lead a life is very clearly explained in the Bhagavad Gita. So it is in fact important that everybody studies Bhagavad Gita. So in fact our life is not complete without having studied Bhagavad Gita or understood what Bhagavad Gita is. Such is the importance of Bhagavad Gita in our life. It is like for Christian, Bible is most important. You see wherever he goes, on a bus stop also you see, he will read Bible. He will read one page. Have you noticed? Sometimes in a bus stop there are ardent, Catholic Christians are there. They will, as soon as they come onto the bus, I don't travel that much with bus, but whenever I've seen them taking a small book, like a small dictionary type book, and they'll read something from there. So all the religions, everybody, they follow that. They have, but only we do not follow it. We do not take the book and read. Even though the Bhagavad Gita is supposed to be not connected with religion at all. Actually, Bhagavad Gita doesn't talk about religion at all. It talks about humanity in general. The other religions talk about their particular religion, about a particular character. So here Krishna is, even though Krishna is there, Krishna does not talk about himself. He talks about himself only as the Parama Purusha. He is the one who is the one to be known as the knower of everything. So that is the difference between our understanding and their understanding. So their understanding is limited, but our culture is so vast that we can accommodate any amount of culture. That is why we are not affected by so many people. They may be Christians. See, the reason why Hinduism is strong and our culture is strong, despite the Mughals being, we have been ruled by Mughals for many years. We have been ruled by, English, by the Britishers for many years, Portuguese for many years. There is not a single person who has not ruled India. Everybody has ruled. We have been a slave to so many people. Yet, the culture is still very strong. So that you can say that despite the advent of so many cultures, so many infections people have made in our culture, our religion still is very strong. We still have a very strong culture. That is the reason. The reason why is because of Vedanta. The Shastram is very, very strong. And the people who hold on to it, they did not deviate from this. That's why it says here Bhagavad Gita. So the Bhagavad Gita means song. And the Bhagavat means of the Bhagavan. So the song of the Bhagavan. So Bhagavat means that which belongs to the Bhagavan. And the Gita means the song of the Lord. So why I say song of the Lord? Because there is a meter. So Bhagavad Gita also is sung in a particular tune. So like Bhajagovindam also is a tune. People sing in different types of tune. But Bhagavad Gita also is a song. So particular way chanted. So it's all there. Then, so Bhagavad Gita kinchitaha. So kinchitaha means even very little. So a person who recites the Bhagavad Gita, right? So kinchitaha aditha. So kinchita means very little. You don't have to read elaborately Bhashyam, etc. But you must at least read the verse, understand what it is, the essence of the verse. So it is not enough to just take a book of Bhagavad Gita and read by yourself, because the Bhagavad Gita is not supposed to be read just by alone. But it has to be read after you understood, you've gone at least studied the teacher, then you can go through and understand. If you read the Bhagavad Gita just like that, it is like a parayana. But it's better than doing nothing. So what it says here is, if you don't have time, or if you can't do anything, at least read a verse, or read one chapter, or read some few selected things. Spend some time on reading it. So such is the importance given to Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita kinchita aditha means a person who understands fully, even if it is very, very little. So it's very vast. 18 chapters are there, 700 slokas are there in the Bhagavad Gita. So one may not understand every. It is not possible for every person to know every verse. Even the most exalted person also, he remembers quotations, some which chapter he remembers. But they remember only key verses. You need to know only the key essence of that. You do not need to remember every verse. Because there are many things repeated. That's why the word aditha means little or small portion also is kinchita Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita kinchita aditha. So the importance given to Bhagavad Gita. Then Ganga Jala. So another example given is Ganga Jalaha. So why Ganga Jalam is supposed to be mentioned here? Because Ganga is supposed to be considered as Jnana Pravaham, the Veda Mata. So Ganga is supposed to be called Veda Mata because the Ganges does not ever dry up. Other rivers may have, they may have water, they may not have water, or they may just have a streak of water going around. But the Ganges, the Ganga, always is in full force. Wherever you go, if you go to Gomukh. If you go to even above Gomukh also, I've gone there. I've gone up to Gomukh and all the other places down up to Bay of Bengal. You see every place the Ganga is very ferocious, very, very ferocious and very, very turbulent river. Some places it is very, very calm. And some places it actually is very, very turbulent. Like if you go to Rudraprayag, you will see the same Ganga is coming from two locations. And it's very ferocious. And then after some time, it again starts to, in Uttarkashi, starts to become as Bhagirathi. It's just very, very calm river. Again, when it meets the ocean, it again joins and just, there's a big roar of waves coming from the, join the ocean. So, what it talks about here is Ganga Jala, it's supposed to be that auspicious because it is pure. It keeps flowing all the time. It doesn't leave anything on its own. So, if you have stagnant water, then there's a possibility of dirt staying there. It can become tainted. But when there's always flowing of water, all the time water flows. So nothing really stays. It's always clean. So likewise, when jnanam flows through your mind, it actually cleans up everything, it rushes everything, it takes it away. Whereas if you have thoughts which are, settling down and there's no, knowledge is not flowing through, then the thoughts itself can actually bury you. You become unclean, you become in thoughts also, correct? That is why the Ganga is compared here as Ganga Jalaha. And Ganga Jala Lava means even a drop. Lava, even a drop. Kanika. So even a drop of the water. So Lava Kanika. And Pitaha. So Pita means what? So Kanika Pita. So Pita means here drink. So even if a person drinks one sip of the Ganga Jal water, it's supposed to make him auspicious. In fact, if you go to any of a traditional house, they will always bring one Ganga Jal from somewhere or the other. They would like to bring a Ganga Jal and keep in in your house. Because what it says is when the person passes away, when the person is about to die, or when the person is about, then the Ganga Jal is actually poured into the drops of water. It's poured into the mouth for him to have a peaceful death. Why Ganga Jal? It can be any other Jal also. Tap water can also be, but why Ganga Jal? Because Ganga Jal has got that special, stature. Same way Bhagavad Gita has got special stature. So he gives importance to Ganga Jal because the Ganga is supposed to be the Veda Mata. It's supposed to be the mother which takes care of all the dirt. See, so many people go there. They take bath, they take a dip there, right? But the Ganga Jal, if you see, it doesn't get dirty. It does not get tainted by any of these things because it is the role of the Ganges what we used to purify the dirt. And that is why the Ganga came from Shiva's head, right? So the word Ganga, Gangotri, I hope you've gone there, Gangotri. Okay. So if you go to Gangotri also, so it's actually Ganga Utri. So Ganga Utri becomes Gangotri. So Ganga Utri means she came down from the head of Lord Shiva because the force of the Pravaham, nobody can, that's why Shiva actually takes it on his head and then from there she comes. So such is the importance of Bhagavad Gita, of the Ganga Jalaha. Then Kanika Pita. So Bhagavad Gita Kinchit Aditha Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita. Then Sakrit Api. So Sakrit Api means at least once. At least once. By whom? Ena. So by the person. At least Ena means by whom. or the person who is supposed to be doing this, ena, means by whom, at least one, sakrutapi, murari samarcha. So murari samarcha means what? Murari means Lord Govinda here. Another name for Krishna is Murari, Murahari. So Murahari becomes Murari. And Mura is Asuras. And Hari means the one which takes you from Asuras. Rakshasa Subhava. So Murari means Murahari. So the one who takes you away from all the Asura Gunas is called Murari. So that's how you say Murari. So when you chant the mantra Murari also, you should know why Murari is chanted. Like Govinda is chanted. So every name of Bhagavan has got a meaning. Every name. And it simply symbolizes a particular aspect of a person, how to know the person, know the Bhagavan. So Murari and Samarcha. So the one who thinks of the Bhagavan, thinks of Govinda or Murari at least once. So Sakrit Api. So in all our busy life, whatever we are doing from day to day, morning to evening, one has to at least remember him at least before you go, at least once. Systematically should do that. That's what it says here. Then Kriyate tasya means for such a person. So Kriyate means is done. What does it do for the person? Na charchaha. So the na charcha means what? Nobody discusses about him. Because he's fully engrossed in the Bhagavan. So really nobody talks about him. He's very quiet and he just does his job. All the activities are in confirmed dharma. He surrenders all activities to Bhagavan as Karma Yogi. So nobody really talks anything about him at all. So na charcha. So by doing this, Sakritapi kriyate tasyaha na charchaha. So nobody will talk about him, nobody discusses about him. And yamena, see, yamena charcha means what? Even yama also. Yamena means what? Yamaha na. So yamena means even the yama also will not come and disturb such a person. So even the yama also will be afraid of coming and disturbing this person because he is fully engrossed in Atma Jnanam, he is fully engrossed in this Bhagavan, in search of this knowledge. Right? So he is not also interested. Yamena Chapcha, other people are not interested also because he is not interested in, he is very busy. He is following, like Markandeya also, when Yama was about to take him, Markandeya was he just hold on to the Shivalinga. So when we hold on to the Bhagavan, then Yama also cannot take him. So that's the symbolic meaning of it. So either by reciting the Bhagavad Gita once, or studying the Bhagavad Gita systematically, even little of what you study, or by having Ganga Jal for such a person, or remembering the Bhagavan at least once a day, Murari, then a person gets freedom from all this papa, etc. And a person becomes fully engrossed. Such a person is not discussed anymore, and Yama also is not interested anymore. So that is the meaning of that. So that means you do your job and Yama will do his own job. He will not come and disturb you. But if you do not do what is supposed to be done there, then Yama says, what is the purpose of giving you this life? So he will probably come earlier also. So whereas when you say, oh, this person is studying Bhagavad Gita, so it will take him another 6 years to study all these things. Let him, even if he has got some problem, let him give me some more time. Right? So I'm just joking, it's not serious. Nobody really knows what Yama is doing or not. But we are not worried about, see, as students of Vedanta, we must not be worried about such a person exists or not. Even if he comes, let him come. Because we are not worried about him. He is doing his job, what is given by the Bhagavan. We are doing the job, what is given by the Bhagavan. So everybody is doing their own job. And if that job is to be coming, so be it. So the fear actually is not there in the person. That's what it says here. So Bhagavad Gita, Kinchid Aditha, Ganga Jalalava, Kanika Pita, Sakrut Api Ena, Murari Samarcha, Kriyate Tasya Yamena Charcha. So Yamena a Charcha. So even Yama also will not be interested in all these things people. So he also leave you. That's the meaning of this. Then verse 21 is a very famous mantra. See, Punar Api Jananam. So Punar Api Jananam, Punar Api Maranam. So a person is always, Punar Api means, Punaha means again. And Api means in this world. So Punar Api here, a person is born. And Punar Api Maranam. So again in this world, the person is again dies. So anything which is born is going to die. And that which is going to die is going to be reborn. So there is, you cannot stop this because it is the order of the Bhagavan, the law of the Bhagavan. Anything which is created will have its own lifetime, even a product also. So our own body also is a product and it has got a lifespan. So we are certain that this physical body will not be there like this same condition, and we are definitely going to go one day. It is guaranteed. So this is something we all know about it. Somehow sometimes some people don't take account of it. Oh, we have time. We have a lot of time. I'm only 55, 65 now, 60 years. I think a few things have to be completed, then I'll start reading all these things. But it is not like this because the time is not there, really speaking. That's why it says Punarapi Maranam, Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. Okay. Then Punarapi Janani again. So again, what do you do? Janani means what? You get again reborn in the womb of another person. So it can be, need not be a human being. It can be the womb of a frog. It can be an octopus, a spider. It can be any Janma. Because there is no guarantee that next Janma will be human being. Can anybody guarantee properly? This Janma we are given guarantee. This Janma definitely we are human beings. Next Janma how we are going to be, we do not know. And one must not be living a false hope that next Janma will be the same capacity, same everything will be same. You never know how it is. That's why he says here, do not waste time. So, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janane, Jatare Shayanam. So Shayanam means what? You're sleeping in the womb of the mother. Like you see the baby, like if you see, it's always hold like this. It will be praying. Why you see the photograph also? The baby is like always like this and praying. Hands and everything tied together in a small place where it is exposed to all the the spicy things you eat. There will be different archana every day. Whatever you eat, ice cream you eat, cold things will fall on the head of the person. Something hot you eat, hot sambar, it will again be falling on the heat of the person. Because it is right now in the middle, right? So whatever the mother eats, etc., all these things will actually be an abhishekam for the person sitting there. That's why he is sitting like this, praying that how long will he sit there? And in such a bad position because it cannot move, it cannot do anything. It is developing. The limbs, etc., developing slowly. and the space is too small for it to move. So it starts to wriggle around, trying to make comfortable. And there's a time when the mother says, oh, it's kicking here, that's kicking here, because it tries to wriggle around. So there's a movement there. The movement is because the child is uncomfortable, it wants to move here and there. Right? So whenever anything emotional imbalance happens or anything happens, at that time you will feel this. So that is why he says here that the child wants to come out, whatever it may be. And the 9 months or 8 months, whatever is there, no more mother, it is actually a punishment, because it is sitting there helpless, choiceless, can't do anything. And it has somehow come into this existence. That's why this Jatare, right? Punarapi Janani Jatare Shayanam. So Shayanam means it's like a sleep. Shayana means sleeping. So it is always contemplative mode, it is sleeping just like that. It is under the care of Bhagavan. Then, Iha Samsare. So this samsara. So Iha Samsara means this samsara here, or the cycle of birth and death. So Bahudustare. So it is impossible for a person to cross this. So Bahudustare means what? You cannot even cross this with any technique what you want to adopt. You can adopt different techniques. You cannot cross the samsara just like that. Because it is impossible to cross samsara without having Atma Jnana. You will still be, whatever technique you do, whatever practices you follow, it will be still within the realm of matter only. Science develops lots of techniques for making life comfortable. Correct? They make air conditioners, they make this, everything, all new gadgets making happy. But what does it give you? Freedom. You are dependent on that now. If AC doesn't work, then you have a problem. Heater doesn't work, you got a problem. NBN doesn't work, we are helpless. Or internet doesn't work, it's a problem. So we are all these things which are there, they are techniques to make your life free, to make it easy for you, right? But it is not making it easy, because we feel it is easy, but now we are dependent on this so many things. Without this, we cannot live now. That is why it says here that Iya Samsare Bahudustare. So even by all the techniques, it's impossible to cross this. So what do you do here? Kripaya Pare. So Kripaya. So what do? You ask for the grace of the Bhagavan. Who does he ask? Murare. So you ask Kripaya, Murare. So Pahi means please protect me. Pahi Mam means protect me. So protect me. So Pahi means protect. And how do you do? Kripaya Pare means Kripaya Apare. You take me across this samsara. See, Par means to cross. And Kripaya Pare means you make me cross this samsara, which seems to be very, very big for me. I will not be able to cross this without your help. Thereby, I seek your grace. So, Kripaya Pare Pahi Murare. So, here also the Murare comes. So, Murahari means the Rakshasa which is within us. The ignorance is called Rakshasa here. So, the ignorance has to be removed. How do you remove the ignorance? By understanding who you are. Understanding what is the purpose of my existence here. And what am I doing here really? Am I just living here like everybody else? The plants are also living there. Trees are also living there. They are also growing tall. They are also giving leaves, fruits, flowers. The bark falls. So they are also living, and I'm also living in this world like this. So what is the difference between me and them? That question is to be asked. That's why it says here that this samsara is such a vast thing. Iha samsare bahudustare. Kripaya pahi, Kripaya pare pahi murare. So please help me cross this samsara. So punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Iha samsare bahudustare, kripaya pare pahi murare. Is it clear? Okay. Then in verse number 22, Ratya charpata virachita kantaha. Ratya charpata virachita kantaha. This is the first one. This is a big compound word. Ratya charpata virachita kantaha. So if you break the word, it is Ratya. First word. Ratya means it's a street or a road. Ratya means it's a road. And charpataha means rags or torn clothes or rags, called charpataha. Then virachitaha means it's made of. So it's made of rags. There are clothes which are made of rags. And the person talks about he's about jnani, wise person, or how a person lives. So Ratya means the street. He's on the street. There are person wandering around in rags. It is made of rags. So it is not nice looking cloth or anything like this. It is all torn clothes. It is nothing because he doesn't go after any clothes or anything. Then, so Kantaha here talks about the quilt. Kantaha means quilt. So Ratya Charpata Virachita Kantaha. I'll give you the meaning, the word by word meaning, then I explain to you the context about it. Then Punyaha Apunyaha. So Punyam and Apunyam. And Vivarjitaha Pantaha. See, Vivarjita Panta means Punya Apunya Vivarjita Pantaha. So who is the Pantaha? Pantaha means the person is a wise person. So Pantaha means like Santaha, again a wise person. And Vivarjitaha means a person who is devoid or is free from all these things. Free from what? From Punyam and Apunyam, or Punyam and Papam. Apunyam means Papam. So a person who is free from Punyam and Papam, and a person who is on the road. It means don't think that we should be always on the road now, and we should wear torn clothes, and we should be. What it talks about here is a person who doesn't have any belongings. It's called aniketaha. So aniketaha means house, right? Niketaha means house, and aniketaha means a person who doesn't have a house. He doesn't have anything called a house. He cannot claim anything saying it is mine. See, sannyasis do not have anything called their own property. They can never say that this is my house, this is my place, this is my people, this is my student. They cannot claim anything like this. Because the moment they say it is mine, mamakara comes into existence. So mamakaratvam comes in means what? One gets pride, saying that, oh, this is all mine. These are my students. So, and you have, overlordship on the students. In fact, a wise person doesn't hold on to anything at all. A student will come, student will go, student will be there or not there. The person does not get affected by anything else. Because the mamakaratvam is not there anymore. Hope you got the idea, right? So, the wise person is such a person called Vivarjita Pantaha. So punya, apunya, vivarjita pantaha. So you look at so many, there are lots of, Swamijis are there, or lots of, they will hold on to everything. They won't teach to anybody else. No, I can't teach this. You have to, it is not available for you. So a lot of Madhadipatis are there. See, Matam, etc. If you go to some Matam, etc., they won't let you teach also. They won't even go near you. You can't even go near them. They will, they will just say that you're not ready. And you have to really work very hard to get there, and getting teaching is very hard, very difficult. Because they are from a particular lifestyle, and their lifestyle tells them that, you don't need to teach anybody, you are only on your own. So everybody's on their own thing. So some of the Paramahamsa sannyasis, they go on their own. So they are not interested in teaching. Their lifestyle is, that, I am seeking Brahman, I want to be free, and this is my lifestyle. So if somebody goes and asks him, if he has got time, he'll teach, or he may not teach also. Because there is not a prerogative. But a teacher, or a Vedantic teacher who follows the tradition of teaching, has got time for the student always. So he or she will make time and will teach the students and ensure that whatever vision the person has got is transmitted across to the student in the same manner without adulteration. Right? That is what it talks about here, is punya, apunya. Because if I teach, I'll get punyam. If I don't teach, I'll get apunyam. He's not worried about all these things. So punya, apunya, vivarjitaha. He's not even worried about what people say also. See, I'll give you a story, an example, which is this one sadhu. It's a story, and don't take it seriously, just to illustrate. A sadhu was living under a tree. And he was living in a village under a tree, and every day the villagers used to pass by and then offer him, because he's a sadhu, they will offer him fruits or whatever, they will offer him, and they will pay namaskara, and then they go. So the sadhu will not, he just sit there. He will do his japam, he will probably go out for some time, come back. And there is no student, nothing like this. He's just there on his dhyanam, etc. He will sleep under the tree only. Like you saw here, Ratya Charpata Virachita Kantaha. So on the street, he's living there, all torn rags, torn quilt. He doesn't have anything like, proper, bed or anything like this. So whatever is available, clothes, etc., he will just fold, and that becomes his bed. He sleeps on that, and he meditates sitting there. People give him food, etc. He eats. So one fine day, there's a lot of commotion happening. So all the villages are making noise, and then apparently it seems like, one of the women in the village got pregnant. And they were finding out who this person was. And the woman did not want to name the person, because if she named the person there, it would be a problem for her. She will be the target of all this violence, etc. So she said, this Swamiji is sitting there, he is the person who made me pregnant. So she put a blame on this Swamiji. So the villagers all came and asked, Swamiji, is it true that this is what woman is saying? Oh, is it? Okay. So according to the law, what it says is, then the woman went to Swamiji, because they are supposed to banish along with. So the Swamiji also left the tree, and he says, okay, you come along, because now you are told that I am the person responsible. He didn't say anything. He just said, you come. So the woman and the Swamiji went from place to place, and being a bhikshu, he will keep begging every place. So he will go to somebody's house, he will beg. Some days he will get some food, some days he will not get food. This woman is from a very good community. She has been eating good food, etc. for daily 3 times a week, a day, etc. The sannyasi sometimes will eat food, sometimes he will not eat food. One day he will eat, sometimes 2 days he will stay hungry. He's got a capacity. Because somebody doesn't give him food or not available, he can stay hungry, he can manage his hunger. That much of vairagya is there. So this goes on for some time. We go from village to village, place to place. Finally, the woman cannot tolerate anymore. So she says, Swamiji, I made a mistake. I should not have done this. It's all lie. I just, I want to go back to the villages and tell the truth. So they all come back again, and she tells the villagers that this is what happened. I actually lied about the Swamiji. This is not him. It is this person. Then the villagers come and apologize to him. Oh, I'm sorry, we made a wrong accusation against you. Oh, isn't that? He was not even amused. He was not amused even when the first time when somebody accused against him. He was also not amused or interested when somebody came and apologized to him also. So to develop that kind of vairagya, to develop that kind of steadiness, when people because you know what you're right, you know your jnanam is correct. So people may say a lot of things about you. It doesn't matter to you because you are not affected by this. So punya punyaha, vivarjita pantaha. So the word punya punyaha, vivarjita pantaha means what? You don't need to be a Swamiji. You don't need to be that extreme. What it tells you is that people of all walks of life will say a lot of things about you, about your family, about your upbringing, etc. People will sort of things say about it. It has got nothing to do with you because you are not that. The moment you think that characteristics is me, then you become the character itself. Correct? Whereas when you say that I am not that character, I'm a different person. That doesn't belong to me. Then you are free from that attribute. Then punyam and papam doesn't come and affect you. That's what it says here. Ratya charpata. So charpata means torn clothes or rags. Virachita kantaha. So the wise person, the sannyasi he talks about here, is a person who doesn't have any belongings. So the torn clothes indicate that he doesn't really have any belongings. He doesn't really have a particular taste for dressing properly or changing clothes regularly, looking attractive, preparing all these things. It's not like that. It's not required. So he's not really worried about this because the attire is only for the physical body. And just as the old clothes get torn, new clothes are worn again. Same, he is not really worried about the external aspect of this. So punya, apunya, vivarjita pantaha. Then yogi yoga niyojita chittaha. Yogi yoga niyojita chittaha. See, the person is a yogi. So it's going to see now the yogi is coming there. The yogi is a person who is a person described there. A yogi is a person who is punya apunya vivarjitaha. He is called pantaha. So yogi adjective is called pantaha or santaha. And he is free from punya apunya. And he is a person who is also described here as ratya charpata virachita kantaha. So the big compound word talks about a person who doesn't have any belongings, nor is interested in having any particular liking for any clothes or anything like this. So he doesn't have really any baggage. That's what it talks about here. And yogi yoga niyojita chittaha. So the yoga niyojitaha means what? A person whose mind is steadfast in yoga, in jnana yoga. Chittaha. So the mind is steady, the mind is not wavering, and he is very steadfast in his pursuit of knowledge. So yoga niyojita chittaha. Then see the pantaha also means another word called path. Pantaha. So a person who follows the path of being free from punyam and apunyam, vivarjitaha. So that's the path of jnana yoga. So in jnanam there is no punyam and apunyam. In karma there is punyam and apunyam. See, even karma yogi also is worried about punyam and apunyam. because the karma yogi is still not fully developed into a jnana yogi. So there's still some work to be done there. So as long as you've got some work to be done there, you still have this concept of punyam and apunyam will be there. If I do this, I'll get punyam, I'll get papam. This concept will be there initially. But once you get full jnanam, then this also disappears. So pantaha, yogi yoga niyojit chittaha, then ramate. So ramate means the person plays or the person enjoys. He enjoys, revels. How balaha unmata iva, unmata iva. So balaha means what? Just like a child. See, a child does not know anything. He enjoys. See? Child, if you see a child playing, you will see how beautiful they are, and they are no fear. They don't know anything about all this world, what's happening around there. They are just a bunch of joy. So the children always makes you, happy. If a person says children are actually going to be trouble for you, or children actually is going to be, what a tension, what a problem they are. They don't know, they just don't know what happiness is. Children are supposed to be the next personification for happiness because they are free from all these things. So just as a child who is free from any of this, they don't know what punyam, they don't know papam. You go and tell them, oh, you're doing punyam. What is punyam? They'll ask. See, you're doing papam. What is papam? They'll ask. Because they don't know. So if you don't know or if you're not cared about it, then you enjoy. So the word here talks about ramate, balaha. So just a bala means a child. So just as a child is unmattaha. So unmattaha means intoxicated. Unmattaha, see, ramate balo unmatta. Unmatta means intoxicated. So unmatta iva. So just as the child is intoxicated or playing by its own self and not worried about the punyam and papam, the same way this yogi also is intoxicated in his own understanding, his own joy of discovering freedom. So intoxication means like you just get anandaha. There's no end to it. And for no cost, anything, he doesn't want to leave that. One may offer him, see, you have discovered happiness, let us say. You have discovered ultimate ananda by living yourself. And you have found out this technique of this complete solution where you don't affected by anybody. See, people come and go, so you don't are affected. You are busy with your own studies. Other life doesn't interest you anymore. If you are into that lifestyle of all these things, suddenly if somebody asks you to come to a birthday party, etc., what do you say? Not interested. Right? Because your mind does not go there. Okay. Is it clear, this one? This verse is clear to you? Are you able to hear me? Okay. So any questions on this verse or the previous one? Anyone has got anything? All clear?
I think we lost you for some time.
Yeah. I think the broadband just dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bhagavan Sittam, some pravda is there. I'm not worried, it will come back. Okay. The next one. Kastvam ko aham. Kastvam ko aham. Kuta ayat. Kastvam ko aham. Kuta ayat. So kastvam means what? Who are you? So means you must not ask me who are you. You said, who am I? So when I say who are you, it means that you are, who are you? The text asks. Bhajagovindam asks the person, who are you? So kastvam. Then ka aham. So koham means ka aham. So who are you? When I say somebody standing in front of you, say, who are you? Then you say, who am I? So ka aham. So who are you? Who am I? Okay. And kuta ayat. So from where have I come from? So kuta ayat. So where have I come from? Then kame janani. Who is my mother? So kame janani. Who is my mother? Then ka me tataha. Kame tataha. See, tataha here means the father. See, kame tataha. Who is my father? Who is my mother? So kastvam, who are you? Ka aham, who am I? Kuta ayat, from where have I come from? Kame janani, who is my mother? Kame tataha, who is my father? So if you really ask the question, you will say, oh, my father is so and so. See, what a silly question you're asking. Who are you? I am Sridharji. I am Shankarji. I am Kushalji. What a silly question you're asking. Correct. And who are you? Who am I? I am so and so person. So I am this person. I got this degree. I am so and so from this kulaha, some varnaha, gotra, etc. You say this. And if you answer the question, where I come from? What a question. I come from mother. My mother gave me birth. Who is a mother? What a silly question you're asking. I know my mother very well. Who is a mother? Who is a father? I also know him very well. So this is the traditional answer you get from anybody who is asked a question, correct? This is a logical question and we cannot avoid. This is the first time you answer this question. So this is what Shastram tells you, that this is how you answer the question. This is how traditionally teaching also happens. That who are you? So I am this person. Okay. Who am I? I'm a teacher. I'm so and so name. Correct. I got my identification as a teacher. I got my name, etc. You are a student, etc. You got a name there. Then it goes again. Iti paribhavayaha. So he says, iti paribhavaya means what? You keep inquiring this again and again. So you keep inquiring this again and again. Sarvam saram. So understand the saram or analyze the saram of this, the essence of this. Sarvam saram vishwam tyaktva. So vishwam tyaktva means renouncing all these things, renouncing all these affiliations or this relationship, etc. is vishwam tyaktva. How we should think like this is swapna vicharam. This is like a dream. So swapna vicharam. See, swapnam is vishwam tyaktva, swapna vicharam. So kastvam Ka aham, kuta ayat, kame janani, kame tataha, iti paribhavaya. So in this way you keep inquiring about yourself. Sarvam saram, understanding the truth of everything, the essence of what this means to you. Vishwam tyaktva, leaving everything, all these things alone, as what? As a swapna vicharaha. So, like a dream, you just leave these things. Why it tells like this? Because if I say, or if you say that I am a person, and so when I ask you, who are you? Said, I am the father of my son. So he says, okay, so I am the father of my son, I say this. Then I say, I am the husband of my wife. Then I will say, I am a friend of this person. So with reference to the son, you are the father, correct? With reference to the son, you are the father. With reference to the wife, you are the husband. With reference to the friend, you are his close friend. But what is your reference to yourself? So when I ask the question, what is the reference to your own self? You don't have the answer. You can answer everything else saying that I am referred to. So you have identity with that you are connected to this person as a father, as a husband, as a brother, as a well-wisher, as a teacher, so many things are there. You're connected like this. You can identify every object like this. But when you ask yourself, see the word here is iti paribhavayaha sarvam saram. The word sarvam saram means you keep inquiring this. I am able to objectify every relationship, but I am not able to objectify my own essence of who I am. So with reference to what I should qualify. That's why he says here, Kastvam, who are you? Or who am I? So when I say with reference to who am I means what? All the relationship which you described now, the son is going to go away, the wife is going to go away at one point of time, the friends will not be with you forever. In such a case, what will you do after those people are gone? How will you identify them? How will you refer? Will you refer yourself as saying that I was past? So that's what he's asking with reference to whom. And it tells this, that all these things which is described here are only roles. They are only roles being performed by the same one person multiplying himself as many. So being a father is a role, being a husband is a role, being a brother is a role, and these roles are not permanent. The roles are not you, right? So there is something different other than the roles which is you. That has to be understood. So the Atma Vichara, when it says here, iti paribhavayaha, means in this way you keep inquiring, okay, I'm able to ask this question about everybody else. I can quantify everybody else. I can say I am this like this. But when somebody asks me, who are you? Then you are only able to objectify again saying that I belong to this Kula. I am from this Gotra. My name is so and so. And all of them are not going to be permanent. Where is the Gotra when you're gone? Where is the place? There's no place. All of them are only attributes. They are only Visheshaha. So Visheshaha means they are qualification given to the same one person. So one person becomes multiple because of the qualification associated with that. And when the qualification is removed, then the person has to be only by yourself. Then how do you identify? You have to know yourself first. That's what it talks about here. The essence is simple. See, Kastvam, who are you? Ka, kaham, kuta ayat, where have you come from? So have you come from, if you ask a question, oh, I come from mother. Then it says, where does your mother come from? She came from, her grandmother. And was a grandmother, she came from something else. So you keep asking this question. Finally, where you will end? You will not have an answer. You will ultimately end at Bhagavan only. And where are you going to go? I'm going to go this place. So same thing. So what it means is the Atma Vichara. The question of asking this has to be deep. So one has to keep answering this question again and again. For that, the essence of this is taught in the Vedanta Shastra, as to that you are not a physical body, you are not the mind, right? And you are not even the ahankara. They are all taught there. So once you leave all these things, what is left is that Shuddha Chaitanyam of consciousness, which is you. And that consciousness is not subject to change. It is not subject to any gotra. It is not subject to any color. It is not subject to any changes. It is always permanent. So you being that consciousness, being permanent, in the wake of being permanent, all other things become impermanent. So all the roles, etc., I talk about here, they become impermanent, and then you become that sakshi or the witness, which is you. So that is the essence, what is trying to ask. So this word, iti paribhavaya sarvasaram. So sarvasaram means what? The essence of what is it taught in the Vedanta Saram, Vedanta Shastram, has to be repeatedly be analyzed, contemplated again and again. It is not just superfluous understanding of what it is. Repeatedly analyzing, repeatedly understanding what it is and questioning this, Atma Vicharaha. So here the word actually is paribhavayaha, is Atma Vicharaha. Inquiry about the self constantly. So when you keep asking this question, see Ramana Maharshi also, he taught everybody Nan-Yar, who am I? Nan-Yar, Nan-Yar. So the question is, if you just go and sit there and Nan-Yar, Nan-Yar, without knowing who is Nan and who is Yar, you have to know who is you and who is other people, right? So you have to see, he was a jnani by himself. So for him to understand is very easy. But if you want to learn the teaching from him properly, then you have to really understand what his teaching is. And for that, you need to have a teacher who can unfold the teaching properly. You need to have the teaching. It's not enough to just read a book or the teaching itself. You need to really be with the teacher unfolding the Shastram systematically, in a particular style suited to your understanding. Then only it will become clear to you. Otherwise, it will not be very clear. Because these are very vague statements. Statements are, vakyams are big. Tattvamasi, big vakyam. Prajnanam Brahma, big statement. What is Prajnanam? What is Brahma? Has to be understood, correct? So that is why it says here, iti paribhavaya sarvam saram vishwam. After that, once you understand this, vishwam tyaktva. So you remove all of them as swapna vichara. See, in swapna, in dream, you get you play a lot of role also. See, in the dream world, it is a private world. And in the dream world, you are the creator. You are the Icha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, and Jnana Shakti. All the Shaktis are with you, right? You create the dream at your will. And you have the power also, right, to create it. And also you have intelligence to how to create also, right? Is there anybody else outside of you creating that? It is you. So you are the one who's creating that illusionary world of Maya when you are in dream state, where you supply the ingredients. So you are the Nimitta Karanam and Upadana Karanam also. The cause and the effect, both are you. And it is an imaginary world. Can any dream become Satyam? It's not possible. Because when you get up in the morning, and what do you say? Just a dream. Dismiss it. Do you really hold on to the dream? No, I had dreamt like this, and today I'm looking for the experience. See, it is foolish. Only a person who is actually not understanding this will hold on to this dream, saying that I had dreamt like this and I want to have the experience today, so I'm going to wait for it. It will never happen. Because a dream is only a dream. A dream is only an expression of your vasanas which was there at some point of time. And once the dream is gone, you wake up, the dream is no longer there. You're not in the dream world anymore. You're in the waking state now. So he says, just as when you dismiss the dream, as you, same way he says, Tyaktva Swapna Vicharaha. So the same way you imagine these roles to be like a dream only, and you do not really get associated, do not get carried away by these roles. So you cannot say that, I'm a father, so I should do this. Yes, you are a father. Do your duties. You're a husband. Yes, do your duties. But do not get carried away, do not get attached to the role beyond a particular point of time. So you must do the duties as what is prescribed, understand its role, and the role will change. The role may not be there after some time. Then what do? So the role goes. Like in Sapna Vichara, the Sapna, all the role which you're creating there also disappears. So the example given here is Tyaktva Sapna Vicharaha Vishwam, entirety. So Vishwam means entirety, you just dismiss all of them or do not get associated with those kind of things. Yes.
There seems to be a part of Vedam. The third line, what we have is Iti Paribhavaya Nija Samsaram Sarvam Tyaktva Swapnam Vicharam.
Okay, so you have Vishwam Tattva, what do you have?
The third line, Iti Paribhavaya Nija Samsaram.
Okay.
Nija Samsaram.
Okay.
Fourth line, Sarvam Tyaktva Swapna Vicharam.
Okay, so Sarvam, Vishwam, both are same. Because Vishwam means what? Entirety. Whole of this. Vishwam means entire. Correct. And Sarvam also means entire. So Sarvam talks about entirety. Vishwam means the entire cosmos. Means the whole. Vishwam means the word which is Virat. It's Vishwam. Correct. And Nitya Saram means, Nitya means daily. Means the essence of what is Nitya. What is the truth. So Sarvam Saram also means the truth of the essence of the truth, what is there. So there will be some variation there, I think, but the text which I am referring is the consistent one. I don't know, there's some Patabheda will be there. So there is some differences there. But whatever notes I have written and whatever notes, is in the book also. Iti Paribhavaya Sarvam Saram Vishwam Tyaktva Swapna Vicharam. So whether you have Nitya Vicharam or Sarvam Tyaktva, the essence is the same. So you can substitute, if you want, you can in your notes if you have, you can do Sarvam also is equal to all. Vishwam also means all. And Sarvam Tyaktva means you renunciate completely all of them. It means not physically. Physically you cannot renunciate anything. See, you cannot from tomorrow say that, see, Bhajagovindam says that I'm not a father, so I'm not doing the role of father. No. You still do the role of father. You still are a husband to your wife. You still are a brother to your, you still have the same role. It is only cognitive. See, cognitive shift is important. You do not now no longer associate it with the role, because when the duty is required, you do the duty. So after that, you don't get attached to the duty itself. Oh no, I am a person like this. How can you disrespect me? I'm the householder. So all this ahankara should be left one by one. Then only you will be free. That's what the essence says here. So the question is, Kastvam ka aham kuta ayat kame janmani kame tataha. All these questions have to be asked, because when you really ask these questions, you trace back to your ancestors also, you will ultimately land up only in Bhagavan. Because there is all these things you can trace back up to 3 generations or maybe 6 generations, 7 generation. Sat Pushti we say, 7 Pushti. Means 7 generations you can probably you can see them. After 7, what will you do? 7 is a number. After 7, no, people don't even remember 3. Forget about 7. 3, if you remember also, is great. For 3, you need to know for doing your karma. Minimum. 3 generally should know. But 4th and the 5th, 6th, we do not know. So even if 7th also, you will not know, because after the 7th also it is impossible to remember anything. That's why he says here, like all these things are all not possible. So leave them as it is. Sutyaktva. Swapna vichara. Is it clear? Sriramji or Bhavan, any questions about? You guys are okay?
All good, Shankarji. Thanks.
Okay. Radhaji, you're okay as well? You're fine?
Yes, sir. Fine.
Okay. So we will conclude the class here, and we will start from verse number 24 next week. And I think we have got about 7 more verses to complete. Then we'll see how we go with that. Okay. Maybe another 2 classes should be okay. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tatsat Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. This Saturday we have got a function at my home. So those people who are volunteered to come or help, I'm really thankful to all of you. You can participate on Zoom as well. At 10:30 we'll start the program. Officially 10:30 we'll start, and then we'll conclude maybe at 12:45 or so, and then conclude. So there'll be, I think I sent you the program list, right? I sent you the PDF file, just got the.
Yes, it's got everything.
Yeah. So it will be a nice program, I think. So mainly the birthday is not for Swamiji. So we do not actually idolize him. On that day, what we remember is the teaching what he's given us. So we remember the teacher on that day for the teaching, not the teacher itself. The teacher is just, a nimitta karanam. But through the teacher, we remember the teaching and we pay homage to the parampara, to that methodology which has given us. That is the real essence of that whole function. Okay. See you, Hari. Okay.
Hari Om.